What's going on, guys? Nando back with one more video, and I got the Sony Xperia XZ2. This is a couple days in. This is just a quick impressions. There's not really a things to consider necessarily. It might be, actually. It might be a things to consider because there's a couple things right off the bat that's kind of bugged me a couple days in with this phone, and maybe it'll bug you too, I don't know. Let's start off with the fingerprint location. Y'all see where that is? So the phone itself is a 5.7-inch screen. However, the placement of this fingerprint scanner right here causes, it's just an awkward location. See, I kind of almost always have, and I've never had this issue before with any other phone, I have to move my hand down to readjust because my hand naturally wants to go and use the camera lens. And the matter of fact, that happens very, very often. And I'm curious to know if anyone else who has this phone out there has the same thing happen to them. So every single time that I pull this phone out of my pocket, my finger, instead of going here, tends to go here. And that's something that is going to take a long time to get used to. I want to say that this location, this fingerprint position is almost as bad, if not worse, than when Samsung with the Note 8 put theirs right besides the camera. It's equally as bad. One might be worse than the other depending on who you are. However, I'm constantly putting my finger on the lens. And because I'm so used to phones like the Samsung Galaxy S9, S9 Plus, the Huawei, the OnePlus, things like that, I'm so used to putting my finger and expecting the phone screen to already turn on. But on Sony, it's not that quick, and you really kind of have to make sure you move your finger over it. I found that the best way to turn this phone on is to take your finger and just kind of slide it over it, and then it turns on. If all you do is kind of give it a quick tap, I'd say it's about 7 out of 10 times it'll work. Sometimes 5 out of 10 times it'll work. But if you slide your finger over it, then it'll work. Now, that's probably the biggest issue I've had with this phone so far. The other issue is the dynamic vibration. I feel like that is a complete gimmick on Sony's end. I don't think it brings anything to the table. It ends up using a lot more battery life, so I go ahead and quickly turn that off. If you guys are honestly considering that, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to know why. I've used it while watching YouTube videos. I've used it while watching DirecTV, like a show, and it's so silly. In my opinion, it's so silly, and it actually does use a good bit of your battery life. So I immediately turned that off. I do like the fact that this phone screen is a little bigger. I do like that Sony has reduced the bezel a little bit. It does make the phone look a little bit more modern. One thing that I don't like, and this is like probably the first time I've said this on a Sony user interface, is their version of Oreo. I'm so used to just being able to slide up to get to my app drawer, and I keep forgetting that I have to actually go to the app drawer. That's small. That's maybe nitpicking in a way. However, it is something that kind of bugs me. I don't like so far their implementation of it. When switching over to Google Now, it kind of lags a little bit. I don't know if that has something to do with the 4 gigs of RAM or what, but more often than not, my Google Now section isn't even curated. It doesn't show up. I have to leave and go back in for it to repopulate. And then lastly, it's the camera. The front-facing camera on this phone is okay at best. 5 megapixels front-facing camera, nothing at all to brag about. I've taken side-by-sides with the Google Pixel 2 XL, and obviously there's no comparisons. The iPhone X, no comparisons. And then just from remembering on the Huawei and the OnePlus, this one right here is not that good. So I don't like that whatsoever. The last thing is the rear-facing camera. The rear-facing camera is good, but there's that shutter delay. When you see your subject and you want to snap your picture, you guys have to make sure you keep your hand steady, because when you tap that button, it's not going to take that picture right then and there. There's about a 1.5 to 2 second delay, and it'll kind of stutter like that. It'll actually put things out of focus, and then it kind of brings it back in focus. I'm not used to that with the S9 Plus. I'm not used to that with the Google Pixel phone. Google's has a little bit of a lag, but that's because it's processing the quality. The picture's been taken, but then it's processing the quality before you can see the picture. On here, it takes that second or two to take the picture, and then you can see the picture. I'm not liking that whatsoever. So those are some things, guys, right off the bat. I know there are more negatives than positives, but with things to consider, I definitely want you guys to obviously know what's standing out. Battery life on this phone has been incredible so far. I'm easily getting a full day's use. I'm easily getting 5 hours of screen on time. I'll be able to show you guys some screenshots here in a couple days when I start to do a final review preparation. I'll probably do a review just on the battery life. But just to give you an idea, for example, I know that the other night, by the time I picked up my phone, I went to sleep and everything. I had to use the phone for about an hour and 50 minutes of screen on time, and I was already pushing about 16 hours of the phone being on. And I only had, or I shouldn't say I only had, I already had 75% left with 15% being used. So the screen quality on this phone allows the battery to last a lot longer. It's not as good as like the Galaxy S9 Plus. However, it's a very, very good screen nonetheless. And I actually think I already have a dead pixel on here, so that's kind of annoying. But there you have it, guys. Just a couple things to consider about the Sony Xperia XZ2. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this phone if you're considering this phone, and I'll definitely reply and get back to you guys as soon as I can. Hit that subscribe button somewhere on the screen, somewhere on your mobile device, please. I really appreciate every one of your subscribers. And thumbs up the video as well. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like always, stay geeky, peace, salute, and adios.